The NES era of gaming was an exciting and memorable time because that's when many of the franchises we know and love today got their start. And I'm not just talking about Nintendo, even for third-party franchises like Ninja Gaiden, Castlevania, and Mega Man. Another third-party game often touted as a classic is Blaster Master. It's been 30 years and I've yet to play it, so let's find out if it's truly a classic or if fans are experiencing a blast of nostalgia. Blaster Master was released in 1988 amidst the boom of the NES. The game begins with a short cutscene to give our upcoming adventure some context and motivation. Fred is a tiny frog who is fed up with his even smaller bowl. He decides to venture off and leave the harsh living conditions imposed upon him by his owner, Jason. Fred makes a mad dash for freedom but ends up jumping in some toxic sludge, which transforms him before he falls into a pit. It seems Jason isn't actually the tyrant we all thought, and he dives into the pit after Fred. Instead of his amphibious friend, he finds a tank called Sophia the Third. With no authorization or training, he steals the tank and sets off on a mission to find Fred in an underground city that is overrun by mutants. Man, this story is bizarre, but I love it. It put me in a good mood to start the game, and it doesn't waste any time before throwing you right into the action. And really, action is what Blaster Master is all about. Blaster Master is especially unique in that it has two very distinct forms of gameplay. It manages to do this by having sections where you're both inside and outside of the tank. While piloting Sophia the Third, you have side-scrolling platforming levels. The tank can jump, shoot with its main cannon, as well as use 3 other methods of firing like a homing shot, triple shot, and lightning bolt. The goal is to fight enemies and explore the underground and find the boss cavern in the level. Some areas can't be accessed by your tank, so in order to reach these you must exit it and enter the dungeon, which is the second type of gameplay. These areas are top-down shooting where Jason uses guns and grenades to battle his way through and duel bosses at the end. You can upgrade the strength of your gun to massive proportions, but a single hit will downgrade it slightly. The mechanic of leaving the tank is awesome and it feels seamless going from one to the other. There are 8 non-linear levels that are quite extensive, and after defeating a boss you get enhancements to the tank that will help you open up the path to the next level. There's a hover ability, a more powerful cannon, underwater ability, and ability to cling to walls. The exploration is fun at first, that is, until you reach my biggest issue, the insane amount of backtracking to previous areas. You see, Area 3 won't connect to Area 4, nor will 6 to 7 or 7 to 8. There is no indication of this in the game, and if you don't have the manual, which I didn't, good luck finding your way to the next level without searching like a madman. It took me over an hour to find out that I needed to go all the way back to Area 1 to proceed with the game. The backtracking isn't limited to the tank sections either. If you have dungeons that don't have a boss at the end, then you have to double back all the way from the entrance. This happens a few times and it really puts a damper on things. Between the two types of action, I prefer the tank sections the most as they controlled better and had faster, more exciting gameplay. However, the ice level and water level slowed the game down to an unbearable crawl. On the ice you have even less traction than normal and every jump becomes a test of patience. The underwater section is downright slow motion for your tank, so you have to leave the tank and swim, but since Jason is much weaker, you have to take your time swimming through the onslaught of sea creatures because only a few hits will kill you. The game can be incredibly unfair due to a number of technical limitations, pop-in from enemies being the most heinous offense. Enemies can't be shown partially on the screen, it's all or nothing, which means if you're moving to the right, you won't be able to see an oncoming bad guy until their character sprite can be fully shown on screen. This sucks. It's killed me on numerous occasions and lives are very limited, so these cheap deaths will have you fuming. The placement of the enemies is also very cheap. Often when I was entering a room for the first time, a baddie would be right on top of you, waiting at the door before you have a chance to react. It's so frustrating, and there isn't much you can do about it other than to memorize where they'll be through multiple playthroughs. Hitboxes are also something that gave me problems. Sometimes you'll try and pick up an item and you think you grabbed it, but it'll pass right through you. Then there are times where you directly hit a monster and no hit will register. Granted, that does work in your favor sometimes, as you'll be hit but not receive damage, but the inconsistency is really annoying. For many of the bosses, you need to be very exact where you hit them, especially when you fight the Crab Monster or Super Fred, making the fights long and tiresome. Strangely enough, I found the final boss to be the easiest, simply because he had the largest hitbox. Just like the mixed bag that is the gameplay, the graphics and soundtrack suffer a similar fate. Sophia the Third has a cool design, and the character sprite for Jason reminds me of the little guy from Dig Dug, which I enjoy. But all the enemies in the tank sections are only the color gray, and you're usually questioning what the hell you're looking at. What is this supposed to be? A caterpillar? What about that guy? I definitely don't want to know what this guy's supposed to be. The enemies in the overhead section look better, but still aren't great. Yes, I'm aware that this is the NES, but nothing seems to have much personality and look completely generic. The soundtrack has some of the catchiest songs I've ever heard on the system, but then it will hit you with others that make you want to plug your ears with how repetitive and droning they are. Levels 1 through 3 have fantastic songs, while the latter stages really suffer from being monotonous with a very short loop. Now if you know me, you know I love a good challenge, and Blaster Master certainly delivers, but not really in a good way. It gives you only 4 continues, no passwords, and no way of earning more lives. So if you game over in Area 7, then be prepared to start from scratch in Area 1. I honestly lost the will to play after a few game overs, and only pushed to beat it for the sake of review. Oh, and spoiler alert for a 30-year-old game, you fight Fred and you kill him. And then you see Jason hanging out with a new, more handsome frog. What a jerk! Blaster Master is a game that must have been incredibly fresh for its time, but is its praise due to nostalgia or not? After my first playthrough, I'm marking this one down as nostalgia. For everything Blaster Master does well, it does something bad to offset that. It has its fun moments, but it's marred with technical issues and unfair difficulty and endless backtracking that make it a pain to play. The game may be dated, but I think a newer, more refined Blaster Master game is something that I'd be interested in playing. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let me know what you think about Blaster Master down in the comments below. And if you disagree with my review, hey, that's okay, because remember, it's all fun and games. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked that video, why not check out my review of Little Nightmares for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. And if you like It's All Fun and Games, then don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again.